Okay, 1.1 unit analysis of examples. We're not going to do the whole thing. Just going to work on unit analysis of examples. Unit analysis. When you use operations, real life problems, you should use unit analysis. Check that the units in your calculations make sense. Okay, so it's something that you just need to be able to do. Real world examples. Probably what we go through. So the first one, you work 4 hours and earn $36. What is your earning rate? That's a pretty easy one. Okay. Your earning rate is dollars per hour. So you want to put your dollars on top. $36 over 4 hours, which equals, what's 36 divided by 4 is 9. So it'll be $9 per hour. Okay. And that's how you write that, pretty easy. Okay. Let's go to the second one. Let me just extend the page so we have room. The second one, you travel 2.5 hours at 50 miles per hour. How far did you go? So you're going to start with your 2.5 hours. Okay. You start with your 2.5 hours. Okay. You always start with what they give you first. They give you 2.5 hours first. Okay. Next, they give you 50 miles per hour. Okay. So 50 miles per hour, you want to make sure so that the units always cancel out. Okay. So if you have hours right here, then you want to have hours diagonal from them. Okay. Because the units always have to be diagonal from each other for them to cancel out. Okay. So the next thing they give us is 50 miles, so we're going to put 50 miles on top and 50 miles per 1 hour, so 1 hour on bottom. When we do that, the hours cancel out. So then we have 2.5 times 50, which is what? 2.5 times 50, 100, 125. And our unit, since the hours cancel out, would just be miles. Okay, so it'd be, so yeah, the answer would be 125 miles, okay? But the main important thing about dimensional analysis or unit analysis is always the units of the first one always have to be diagonal, so you cross out, so you end up with what you want. How far did you go? Sorry, that's in the way. How far did you go is what you're looking for, which is miles, which is distance. Okay, so that's why we know we want to end up with that. So the one you end up with should be the only one that doesn't cancel out. Okay. Last one, we'll just keep going down. You can write this off to the side if we run out of room on a separate sheet of paper. Okay. You drive 45 miles per hour. What is your speed in feet per second? So you want to start with your 45 miles. If it says per hour, that means you want to put that on the bottom. So per 1 hour. Okay. Then you want to make a table or chart, however you want to write this, all right? And we want to change it to feet per second. Okay. So how do we change it to feet per second? Well, first let's start with changing miles to feet. So since miles is on top, we have to put miles on bottom to change it to feet. So we're going to put miles on bottom and feet on top because we want to get rid of miles, but we want it to turn into feet. So then we got to ask, what's the conversion factor of miles and feet? Well, if you ever remember the Titans, there's 5,280 feet in 1 mile. That's how much PD has to run. Okay. So that's the conversion factor. Now my miles unit will cross out, and I'll be left with feet. But we still have to change. What do we have to change? You still have to change hours to seconds. Well, there's 2 ways you can do this. If you know how many seconds are an hour, you can go straight from hours to seconds. But if you don't, then you might want to use a couple other factors. So you can go hours to minutes and then minutes to seconds. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to go hours. So since hours is on bottom, we're going to put it on top because we want to cancel it out. And we want to change it to minutes. Well, what's the conversion factor of hours and minutes? Well, there's 60 minutes in 1 hour. Okay. So then that'll cancel out our hours unit. That'll cancel out that hours unit, and that'll cancel the hours. So now we're dealing with minutes. But we still don't want minutes, we want seconds. So now we have to cancel out minutes. So since minutes is on the bottom, we're going to put it on the top. and we're going to put seconds on bottom, okay? So what's the conversion unit of minutes to seconds? Well, there's 60 seconds in 1 minute, okay? And now that cancels out the minutes, and we're left with seconds. So now all we have to do is multiply everything on top, which, let's get a calculator here, which would just be 45 times 5,280, okay? And then we just divide that by everything on bottom, which is just 60 times 60. We can pretty much ignore the ones because we know one identity property, anything times one is itself, okay? So, 5,280 times 45 is 237,600. Okay, so we'll extend this a little bit. And what's the unit right there? Okay, what's the unit on top that's left? Miles is canceled out, hours, minutes canceled out, so we're left with feet. So that's how many feet per, what's 60 times 60? Well, 6 times 6 is 36. Add 2 zeros is 3,600. Okay, and what's the unit left on the bottom? The only unit that's not canceled out is seconds. So now we have feet per seconds. Now we can simplify this, okay? We can just divide them. So if you ever do division, you notice that these 2 zeros and those 2 zeros, you can make it simpler by crossing out those zeros. You don't have to do that, but it's just a quick way to do it. So now we have 2, 3, 7, 6 over 36. So if we divide that, 2, 3, 7, 6 divided by 36, you end up with about 66 feet per second. I ran out of room there, but you see the picture, okay? I'll write smaller and move over next time. So that would be your answer. Actually, let's write that up. Okay. So that's how you go about doing that. So we'll practice that in class before you guys work on that assignment. Okay. Again, unit analysis with conversions says this is from Montpelier, Vermont to Montreal Canal is 132 miles. The distance from Montreal to Quebec is about 253 kilometers. But they give us conversion factor right here. 1 mile is equal to 1.61 kilometers. So the first one it says convert this from Montpelier to Montreal to kilometers. So Montpelier to Montreal is 132 miles. That's where you want to start with. Okay. And since miles is on top, we want miles on the bottom. Okay. And we want to change to kilometers, and we want to put kilometers on top. And the conversion factor was there's 1 mile for every 1.61 kilometers. So now our miles cancels out. We have 132 times 1.61, which is 132 times 1.61, 212.52 kilometers, because that's the only unit we have left, okay? And that's how you would go about doing that, okay? The distance from Montreal to Quebec City is 250 kilometers. We want to change that to miles. So we start with our 253 kilometers. Okay, we start there. We want to get rid of kilometers, so where does it go? It goes on bottom. Okay, and we want to put miles on top because we want to convert it to miles. So again, 1 mile equals 1.61 kilometers. So we now it just switches from putting the 1 mile on top versus 1 mile on bottom on the other one. So basically, if we do 253 times 1 is 253. Okay, and we can cross out the kilometers. So it'd be 253 miles we still got to divide it by 1.61. So 253 divided by 1.61 equals 157. So the answer would be 157, what was the 0.14, let's go 0.14 miles. Or sorry, yeah, miles. And that would be your answer. Okay? So that's how you do that. But the main thing is always start with what unit you have and then always put it on the bottom on the next table or slot or diagonal from it so it crosses out. Okay? If you do that every single time, you should be fine. Okay, here's just a list for you for your notes so you can use to do the problems. I have some major conversions on it to help you with everything. Okay? So if you use this, you should be able to do most of the conversion factors on your homework using this chart. And here's some others that are on that chart as well, just other things you can use to help you solve that. Okay, these problems we're going to do in class, and if you have questions, we'll be walking around class to help you, or I'll be walking around class to help you do these problems and make sure you got it before we start on the homework. Okay. And that is your homework. When we get done with that, you can start if you want on it, or if you want to wait, you can wait. That is it. And if you have any questions, see me in class about it. Thanks.